All right, guys, it's another Monday night.
You know what that means.
Yes, hashtag TFR Motivation Monday.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, we're super excited. I mean, gosh, if you were in Kansas City with us, you know exactly why my voice is the way it is.
And why I have no top of my head.
It's blown. Right, we're so super excited to be able to be with you guys here tonight on another Monday night call. So, guys, as you can see here, the total goal is about raising influencers. And here at Team Freedom Reigns, we want to make sure that even if you can't be on here live with us for these calls on Monday night, we have you covered because you're part of the team. You're important. So please make sure that you go and subscribe to the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel as well as the Freedom Reigns SoundCloud, because what happens is that once you subscribe, then you can start to get notifications of every time that we upload a new call or new training.
Or new content of any kind.
Yeah. Or even the live opportunity overviews. Okay. So go subscribe as soon as we're done with this call. Okay.
It's called push notifications.
Yes. All right, guys.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. So
this is big.
You know that we build from event to event, right? We just got home like 1 o'clock in the morning today.
Not even 24 hours
from
ago.
Kansas City. And so we're already going to start promoting to you the Elite Academy in Long Beach, California. The dates are October 3rd through 6th, and you must be there because there's so many amazing things that are coming up that you need to know about. And we just can't bring it to you on a Zoom like this and have you experience it the way that we were able to experience it, because you wouldn't feel it the same way. And it's all about the feelings, right?
Right.
So early bird registration ends
today. Like today.
So if they wait till tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, not after midnight tonight, like today. Because here's really the point. And we say this all the time, because waiting just costs you more money. So right now, if finances is the hurdle that you're dealing with or figuring out how you're going to pay for it, it's not going to get any better, guys and gals. It's going to get worse for you. So just decide. And if it really comes down to finances, you need this more than you know. So don't let the fact that it's difficult to afford be your excuse. Let it be your reason, because literally after midnight tonight, it goes up 50% from $99 to $149. So it's not going to be any more affordable if that's your finances. And that is the case for some. Others, it's a calendar issue. It's that far out in advance. Put it in your calendar, book it, and don't let anything else get in the way. That's what you need to do, is be decisive and decide this is what you're going to do, because there's some super cool things that are going to happen in Long Beach, as if there wasn't super cool things that just happened in Kansas City at our 10-year anniversary as a company, but some big news coming there.
Yeah, they were teasing us all weekend long of things that they're going to be announcing. But just to piggyback on what Don D was saying about, if it's time or if it's finances or whatever reason you're telling yourself or excuse you're using to keep yourself from getting pre-registered, that's exactly the reason why you need to get pre-registered. And we learned that from one of our amazing leaders that's on the team just over this last weekend. So don't miss out.
Yeah, and let me make it a little less abrasive, because I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to put anybody off, and I don't want to make you feel like we're criticizing you if it really is a financial concern or a time concern. But let me just put it to you this way. If two different people are in the same circumstance, they don't have the money to get there, or they don't have the time to get there, and one of them decides they're not going to let that reality define their future and they go figure it out, and the other person decides that I just can't come up with the money and I just can't come up with the time, they're going to have a very different life, because it's how you do one thing is how you do all things. For the most part, it's a generalization, but if you are a problem solver, rather than letting your problems hold you back, then you understand the difference. The difference is in the outcome and what you do with the issue at hand, with the scenario, with the obstacle, with the reality. How you handle it is going to determine whether or not you continue to have that same kind of an issue in your life moving forward, or if overcoming it right then is the permission and the opening the floodgates to a different life for you. And that's really what we want, is a different life for all of you. The life you deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just double checking to make sure that our guest is getting on here. Okay, guys. So when we talk about that and why we're saying this, because if you're not in the room, you're not going to be one of the first to know so many different things. So some of the things that they teased us about in Kansas City are going to be coming true in Long Beach to include these huge things. There's going to be a new product launch. This product's going to be part of the Pro Tandem family. So we're going to have a third Synergizer that has been 4 years in the works, and it is a product that you can feel immediately.
That's what we've been told.
That's huge.
How cool is that?
We cannot wait to hear more and to be able to get Super 7 launched. That's what they're calling it. This is the code name. In, at Elite Academy in Long Beach. How about the location of the 2020 Global? They're changing the cadence of our events, and Global Convention is going to be happening every single year in Long Beach. They're going to tell us where. Elite Retreat.
We don't know where it's going to be. Elite Retreat is one of those things that our company does that is kind of unique in the industry. Is they take the top performers, the top leaders in the company, and they simply just, in all transparency, they let us know how important what we do is for the success of the company, but they also let us know how they feel about us.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I've never been treated so magnificently than by this company at these events. It's just one of those things where if you want to know how the elite in life lives, how celebrities live and people that are famous, the company literally rolls out the red carpet for us, but it's done in a quaint environment that is usually exclusive to LifeVantage and the elite population that are there. But it is a memorable situation. And Darren Jensen kind of, at this last Elite Academy, our president and CEO, Darren Jensen, kind of summarized it like this, is that when you have a memory, and you have an experience of something, and usually when you're there, you're present, all of your five senses are going to be stimulated, so that memory that you retain is going to be much greater and much more vivid. And that is a constant source of joy and happiness for you, the memory of that event that you are going to. So it's one of those things that Elite Retreat is the company's way of saying, first and foremost, thank you. We value your contribution to our success, and we want to pour back into you by giving you what we're grateful for, and that is an experience. And coming out of an Elite Retreat is really motivational for everybody involved, and we feel a very, very strong sense that the company values us and wants us to be an integral part of the future, and that's really what it is. So we just want to help every one of you get there, because it is a life-changing and very memorable experience that you're going to have when you do.
Yeah, seriously. So I'm just going back and forth here with our guest. So guys, and another thing about that, what I want to say about Elite Retreat is the one we're talking about is going to be in November 2020. Do you know how many months away that is, and how many of you could be qualified for the Elite Retreat? That's another reason why it's important for you to know where it's at, so you can start planning it. But that's the thing, guys, is take your business serious, and you'll be there at that Elite Retreat in 2020. How about daily pay? They're announcing more details about the daily pay that we're going to start getting starting early in 2020. And then how about the free shipping options that everybody's been asking about that is being brought by LifeVantage for us to help us build our business. I want to say something
about daily pay. Did you guys ever take psychology classes and watch videos of what happens when a rat or a pigeon or a monkey, some kind of a lab animal, punches some board, touches something, and they get instant gratification? Like maybe it's a rat, they step on a pedal and a little peanut drops. So if they have to do it 20 times to get the peanut to drop, or they do it every single time, it's that instant gratification. I think that's what the whole daily pay structure is. You put in some work, you instantly get gratified for it. And it's a way of keeping you engaged and getting real-time compensation for it. How cool is that? Rather than having to wait till the 15th or the end of the week to get your bonus check or your launch bonus or your roll-up bonus, it's like you did that, boom, there's your email, you just got paid this much, and those come in on a daily basis. I'm so looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too.
Seriously. And then this is going to be so much fun. There she is. I'm so excited. So this is where Elite Academy collides with an incentive trip. We're talking about Elite Academy next February in Cancun at the all-inclusive Moon Palace. Okay.
5-star resort.
So you guys, you can go and find all the details under lifevantage.com, company and promotions. Now I would challenge you, and actually I think this one's under upcoming events. So go underneath there to find all of the specific details. Take a screenshot of this, because we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on here, because we want to give Cynthia as much time as she can possibly need to be able to share with you. So just know that every single one of us can qualify at one tier or another. We're going for the top tier, guys. We're throwing down. We're going for that 12,000 points. And that means we need to be able to help you guys accomplish your goals and dreams too. So the company is going to be giving monthly promos to help you earn new points. The promos for July, you enroll 3 new PCs yourself that equal 300 in volume or more. You're going to get 100 points.
100 points.
Totally do that just by building your business. And then just at this last Elite Academy, they announced anyone who enrolls 5,000 in new personal volume before the end of the month, you will get an additional $250, plus you can take one child for free with you on this trip.
You don't have to stuff them in a suitcase and sneak them. They come for free. Legit. And a $250.
And another thing that's important is that if you register before the end of this month, you can take advantage of the amazing payment plans that they are giving you to be able to break this up into very chewable, eating that frog, very chewable pieces, and also give you the opportunity to be earning the points as you go along and make those payments. Okay. Absolutely. All right, guys. So this is what this call is all about. We are so excited for this fireball to be sharing with us. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Dondi so that he can really truly introduce this rock star the way she deserves to be introduced.
Absolutely. And first of all, foremost, Cynthia, thank you for accepting our invitation. So guys and gals, let me introduce you who our guest presenter, our keynote speaker is tonight to give you this amazing lesson. Her name is Cynthia Greenawalt. She's just an amazing individual, blessed to have her on our team. But let me give you some of her background. She's a graduate of the prestigious Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. And maybe some of you know what that is and how important that is. Let me just share with you some of her alumni. How about Dr. Oz? Or how about Warren Buffett? Or how about Elon Musk? Thought leaders, just influences around the world. Some of the people that she's graduated with from this very prestigious school. She has her own business and speaking and consulting space for over 20 years. She is a networking specialist, and she has a networking and referral generation for entrepreneurs and small business owners. That's kind of where her niche is. She's been in and around the network marketing profession for over 25 years. In fact, in 2 different companies, she's gone to the top and brought many people with her that were also influencers. She's a student and teacher of peak performance. You're going to hear all about that tonight. And breakthrough thinking models, from brain science to quantum physics to the powerful topic she'll be discussing with us tonight, which is the Cashflow Quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki's book of the same name. So and this is a fun fact. She's a contributing author of the New York Times of a New York Times best-selling book on networking. So please help us welcome to the presenter stage tonight, Cynthia Greenawalt. We are so blessed and honored to have you. Just thank you for accepting this invitation and for being, quite frankly, who you are as an influencer and as just a person of magnificence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Just to do a quick sound check. How is it going here? Okay, good.
Okay.
I'm kind of squinting because I've been told that when I wear my glasses, which allows me to see you, then there's like the glare thing. So if I kind of keep my head down a little bit.
Fine. You're fine. You do what you need to do to be as powerful as you always are.
So first of all, I want to acknowledge, if anyone saw me at conference, I am one of those people who comes, I always tell my team, come to the conference dressed like you are going to be on stage accepting your Pro 8, Pro 9, Pro 10 award, or you're actually one of the presenters as a Pro 7 or above. So even when someone's a Pro 2, I tell them that. I literally got home this morning traveling 20 hours with canceled flights and having to go back and sleep and come back. My air conditioning broke. It's over 90 degrees in my house. So I'm kind of dressed in like pool wear, if you kind of get like what you'd wear like in the tropics. Because right now my home in New York City is indeed tropics temperature, okay? So just acknowledging that I'm not wearing a suit or something elegant like that. You get that? Okay, good.
You're great.
But I always, hey, I'm just acknowledging the situation. What I want to acknowledge is how excited I am that you both have included me here. This topic that I'm going to be sharing, whenever I share it with leaders in network marketing, and again, because of my way back when success in network marketing, and then really kind of took a hiatus after I'd had a number of private companies where I'd moved to the top collapse underneath me. It was one of the most heartbreaking situations. And I actually never thought I'd get back in the industry. So off I was consulting, but I love the industry. So what I ended up doing was consulting leaders in network marketing so I could still bring my passion for this industry, which I believe is so important. I have a lot of friends and clients in companies that are 25, 35 or more years old. And I knew that that was where their heart was. So I wanted to make a difference with that. But whenever they said to me, well, why don't you, Cynthia, you love network marketing so much. Why aren't you back in the industry? I really didn't have the heart to tell them I could never do your company. It's too old. I don't want to tell I I have a philosophy. I do not rain on people's parade. I just won't do that. That's like if your friend is dating somebody and you're not really crazy about him, that's when you say something. But if your friend says, I do, and they get married and he's not, as long as he's not like terrible for her well-being. But I mean, they're not your favorite person. You shut up once they've made that commitment. You say, okay, I don't really think they're my favorite person for her, but I'm going to back her because she just committed to this person. So when someone commits to a network marketing company, even if I see it as oh dear, I would never touch it because it's too old, it doesn't have a cutting edge thing, I can't rain on that person's parade. People can be successful. They might have to work 4 times the more hours at a 35-year mark that we can work. Literally on 10 hours a week, I can help my team in LifeVantage achieve what, fast forward 20 years from now, someone might need to spend 30 hours to produce that same result. So we have something so important right now called wind at our back. But that was why I couldn't do those companies. I was like, oh my gosh, they're just too far along, too stabilized. But they're great companies. So I was able to help my friends get to top positions with these old, stabilized companies. And I just thought I was going to be a coach forevermore in the space of both entrepreneurship, but also with leaders in network marketing, because I do love the industry so much. What that means is I taught a lot of people about this cash flow quadrant model, and it's just basically taking Robert Kiyosaki's genius. I mean, he's written the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's written a number of books after that, and I think his most important work is in this second book he wrote called the Cash Flow Quadrant. The thing is, it's a thick book, it's long, and he's known for being rambly. So I'm able to compress what he says into this really short and sweet conversation, like the cliff notes of the cliff notes, if you will. He actually wrote a book called The Business of the 21st Century, the business for people who like helping people. He really did an analysis of network marketing, and he dives in that book to a 5-page version or take or summary, if you will, of this model. I love sharing this model with people either who are on my team, but I also love to use this model. I love teaching people how to tell it in about 12 minutes. So that people who when I don't know someone that well, but I really like their vibe and I like that they're a successful leader and I can tell they're innovative, but they have a heart of gold. They kind of have what I would consider the kind of characteristics that would make them a board of advisor member, because that's how I relate to this business. I'm Steve Jobs. I'm putting together my board for my Apple computer vision that no one knows about, kind of thing. So I look at people, it's like, would Steve Jobs want that person on his board? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So if I like their energy, but I don't yet have what I'll call enough awareness of the inside of that person's life, this cash flow quadrant is one of my ways for kind of getting a litmus test read on what in sales is known as what's their pain. Like if there's not something that's keeping them up at night, if people aren't like wondering, not that they're out complaining, but like usually people who are successful, if there is some kind of complaint going on, they're not wearing it on their sleeve. Like Dr. Nettles was not running around saying at the peak of his chiropractic career, he was not running around saying, I don't really have time to see my family. It wasn't like he was wearing that issue on his sleeve, but we know if you listen closely and you look at his life when he was at the peak of his chiropractic career, he was all those hours and the AM show and not seeing his kids. So there's a way when you show this quadrant to someone that they will actually reveal that that's an issue, that they don't have time for their family. But that's why I love what I'm going to show you guys. So I use it with people that are close friends to help them see why I'm doing network marketing. And I also use it with people that I'm getting to know, and I kind of present this quadrant to them in just a few, maybe 8 to 12 minutes to kind of see if they'll reveal to me, you know what? There's something missing, and that's when I can contribute what I'm doing. Okay, so I have it on some little notes, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the quadrants in a way that each of you can get a piece of paper and get a pen or pencil, whatever's your favorite thing. You can even use the back of an envelope, because that was all I had handy when one of my friends was popping by and I was downstairs and all my paper was upstairs, and I just grabbed this envelope and I started doodling. So we're going to end up with something like this. Don't worry about what it says. But it's like right there in my kitchen. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's a consultant. We hadn't seen each other in months, and he was opening some business in another country. And I could just hear this hamster wheel dynamic to his consulting life, because I know that, because I have a consulting business. And I thought, I've got to find out if he's aware that it's a hamster wheel. That's all I want to know. Are they aware? Are they living in the fantasy that this consulting business is the answer to their prayers? If they're still inside the fantasy, they're not ready to hear what I'm doing with LifeVantage. So I just wanted to kind of test the waters. And this literally took me 10 minutes. So don't worry, it looks messy. At the end, I'll show it to you, and you'll say, oh, now I know what that means. So the cash flow quadrant starts with drawing on your piece of paper a 3-inch tall plus sign. I've even done this on the phone with people. I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you? And I hear something, and I just get something tells me, I want to check in. And I'll say, look, I've got to share something with you. It's the most powerful principle I've ever seen regarding the way money is created and brought into a person's life. It's written by the guy who wrote the book. It was created by the man who wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Have you heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And they usually go, yeah, I remember that book. I was like 15 something years ago. It's his second book that was so powerful and hardly anybody got to that one. And that one's called Cash Flow Quadrant. So I'll tell my friend on the phone, I was like, just humor me. If I showed you this really amazing model for looking at all the different ways, the 4 distinct and the 4 exclusive ways that cash flow can come into a human being's life. It's the stuff that the wealthy know. And when people see it, it's like the light bulb goes off for all the ways that they could possibly choose to create cash flow. If I had something just to show you in a few minutes, is that something you want me to share with you? And they go, yeah. Notice my Eric Worre question. If I had something like this, would you want to see it? And they give me permission. They say, yeah. So I go, great. Draw a 3-inch tall plus sign on your piece of paper. And then they do that. And then I'll say this. So you're just copying what I do. On the upper left quadrant, there it is. Ta-da! On the upper left quadrant, write the letter E. So up top over to the left, the letter E is an Edward. Down below that on the bottom left is the letter S as in Samantha. And then on the upper right, top right is the letter B as in boy. And then the bottom right, below the B on the bottom right is the letter I as in indigo. And now I'll tell you what each of these means. So the E quadrant stands for employee. Now, if I'm the president of General Electric or if I'm the janitor of General Electric, I am hired by someone. If I'm the CEO or president, I was brought in by the board of advisors. The exception is if I'm the president or the CEO and I'm the founder. That's not the E quadrant. We're talking if I'm not the founder, but I'm president or CEO and I was hired by the board of directors, you get the point. That's E quadrant. I work for someone. Now, below that is the letter S, stands for small business owner. It also stands for self-employed. So that goes down on the bottom left. And then on the top right, letter B as in boy, that stands for business owner. And Kiyosaki says people get confused. I agree, because if I'm a small business owner, I'm still a business owner. So then I think, well, am I a B because I own a business? So on the top right, I put in parentheses, big, like big business owner. So it kind of distinguishes that distinct, and I'm going to give you a little litmus test real quickly, but let me just define the letter I. Letter I stands for investor. And what's interesting about the investor quadrant is there are a myriad of ways someone can play in that quadrant. Someone can invest in real estate, but even real estate could be, is it commercial? Is it residential? Do I buy properties and flip it? Do I buy a property and lease it, rent it? You know, you get the idea that there's, hundreds of ways just under the real estate model. Then there's stocks and bonds, and people can invest in art. People can invest in gems. People can invest in other businesses and be angel investors investing in the B quadrant businesses. So I just want to give you a flavor of what each of those letters stands for. The B quadrant versus the S quadrant is something I want to distinguish real quick. Sometimes for fun on my little piece of paper, I'll create like a little between S and B, kind of like, what's up? Like, what's the story between S to B? And Robert Kiyosaki has a litmus test that will tell me whether my business is S or B. If I own a business, how do I know if it's S or B? So here's his test. I walk out the front door. I tell this right in my kitchen. Just last week I was doing this. I walk out the front door of my business, close the door behind me. I go away for 6 months and I have nothing to do with my business for 6 months. Nothing. And when I come back 6 months later, now, maybe I was off to write a book, be by the bedside of an ailing family member or a retreat, whatever it might be, but nothing to do with my business. He says, when you come back 6 months later, if I'm being paid the same amount. Like if the business is flowing and my income is the same, or if it's grown in my absence, that is a B quadrant business. Well, as a small business consultant, because that's how I'm an S. S could be a doctor, attorney, a designer, interior designer, photographer, just anyone that has a skill that they trade either hourly or maybe contract, like I do a website and it's just I get paid for the website, however long it takes me. The point is it's either project based or hourly based. So as a small business owner, it is kind of funny. I'm a consultant. I'm a superstar leading seminars for entrepreneurs. But if I go away for a couple of weeks on vacation, I come back and there's almost no business happening. In other words, it depends on me. That's the S quadrant. And so even if your business shrinks a little bit while you're away, that means it's not sustainable without you, because at some point it's going to keep shrinking. So that's why B quadrant, by the way, is a very small percent. And we'll talk about the percents in a little bit. So now we've got these 4 quadrants in terms of the letter and what they mean. Now I want to talk about what I love is the primary motivation. And this is what I want you to consider. I'm a big fan of thinking, breakthrough thinking, language, the way it lives in our brain. And what I realized, and this is my kind of spin, if you will, on these quadrants, is each of these quadrants has a particular language that goes with it. And even in the I quadrant, there's a language that goes with investing in commercial real estate. There's a language that goes with investing in art. They all have their own language. So if we don't hear a language, how good am I going to be at French if I never hear French being spoken? You get the idea? So people tend to hang around those that speak the same language is the sort of the punchline that I'm giving you in advance. So the E quadrant has a primary motivation. Each quadrant actually has a primary motivation that pretty much determines why a person will end up in that quadrant. They're driven by something. And the primary motivation of the E quadrant is security. The primary motivation. I'm going to take off my glasses because my own glare is bugging me. I look at the glare of my reflection. Okay, so the E quadrant, primary motivation is security. And I have some friends that say, oh my God, yes, when I had kids, and I was an independent contractor, and then I had a little kid, and I got nervous about insurance and providing, so I went into the workforce, the employee workforce. I said, yeah, that was the motivation changed. And now the S quadrant, the primary motivation of small business owners and those who are self-employed, they think it's freedom because like, oh my gosh, I work for somebody, this is driving me crazy. I want to call the shots and create my own hours. I'm out of here. And they leave the E quadrant to jump into the S quadrant, often thinking it's for freedom, but it's not. S quadrant is about independence. At least I can go to the bathroom when I want. I can take vacations when I want. I can get out of bed in the morning when I want. I have that sense of being independent, but there's no freedom because if the S quadrant person stops working, the money stops. So that's kind of the sort of a conundrum of the S quadrant is most of them think it's freedom and they realize they're actually working more hours than when they work for somebody else because they really can't stop because they're so into it. And they actually, S's usually choose something they like. So they're always doing it. If I just do a little more, I'll make more money. So it's a little bit of a madness, speaking as an S quadrant, I know. And then you've got the B quadrant. What's the primary motivation of B? Well, actually B and I, business owner, big business owner and investor share the same primary motivation. And it's freedom. Actually is freedom. Everything B's and I's do is it's about leverage, creating freedom. Will this move create more leverage? Will this give me more freedom and to create and play? And I discovered, it's not in Kiyosaki's books, but I discovered as I work with people with this material for the last, 15 years, it's pretty much now, that there's a secondary motivation. It doesn't occur in all B's and I's, but I see that if it's present, it's as important as freedom. And it's the motivation called impact. Having massive impact on the world, on humanity, on that which matters to them. So it could be sustainability, like they're dedicated. I get goosebumps talking about it because that's one of my things, is sustainability for the planet. So they want freedom and they want to have their lives have an impact. Now, what's really profound about this whole quadrant is that Kiyosaki basically says people will not change their quadrant unless something shifts. And here's what I want you to consider. There are people who are what I'll call a happy E. Happy E would be somebody who, let's say they're a special needs teacher. I actually met I used to use this example all the time, and I literally on a couple of trips ago met special needs, cutest woman, like in their early 30s with her cute little husband. They were adorable. And she's like, I have a special needs teacher. And you can tell she loved it. And I thought, this is exactly what I always like imagine and use as an example. So if I'm a happy E, that means I work in a career that I love. It gives me joy. Special needs, maybe an art teacher. I could be people could be a principal of a school. They love that. Some people are bus drivers and they have a blast. Who knows? People like have a career they love. They're doing the thing they love. And the amount of money they make covers their bucket list. This is really important. I have met people where the amount of money they make, pays for all the things that are important. A couple vacations a year, the summer home on the beach, the things they want are paid for by the income that comes in from the thing they're doing they really like. So when you have a happy E and happy S's, I know actually some chiropractors, it's an interesting thing, right? I have some dear friends who are chiropractors over the years because I've always consulted small business owners. So I've had chiropractor clients for decades, or at least 20 something years. And there's one right here in New York that one of my team members shared LifeVantage with. Just didn't dawn on him. He loves what he does. He doesn't have a family, so 80 hours a week doesn't seem like any kind of, he's like hanging out with his favorite people. His patients are all his best friends. He's helping them with being catalysts for their healing. He's like, I just love what's going on. He makes the right amount of money to live where he wants. And it's like, this is what I mean. That's a happy S. That's partly why I love doing the quadrants with people really quickly. Because you guys, by the way, I'm kind of giving you some sidebar coaching. So I don't do this with the guy in the living room. I didn't go into happy E and S with him and in my kitchen last week. I'm just giving you some kind of sidebar coaching. So listening keenly, if they love what they're doing and it's covering the things they want. There isn't a gap of frustration or dissatisfaction. You've heard Dr. Nettles, I made great money, but I never saw my family. That was the gap. So on the bucket list would be like hanging out with the family on more trips that I just can't go on because I'm at the office. So if you have to listen keenly for that, if they're a happy E or a happy S. So here's the thing. When someone discovers that they have goals or they're aware of new commitments that arise, like when I began to get really passionate about wanting to be a philanthropist and be someone who could be of influence, that suddenly I couldn't do that from the S quadrant. I'm also a coach and a consultant who makes a big impact on my client base. But if I want to touch more people, I have to double my hours to touch more people. And all of a sudden I was like, but still that's a cap. I hit a lid. So the idea that my influence and my ability to contribute to people hit a lid, and one of the things about me is I want to have impact in the world. So that's why moving to the right-hand side of the quadrant became paramount for me. But Kiyosaki says it's one of the most uncomfortable things a human being will ever do is moving from the left to the right. So let me talk about why he would say that. So the E's and S's, though they look very different. Security-driven is the E. Independence-driven is the S. They're so different, but in the world of the quadrant, they hang out together. Believe it or not, E's and S's are friends. And E's and S's will get married. And E's and S's, when they have kids, he says pretty much always their kids are then E's and S's. It's like this, again, language, what you're born into. If you're born into a German-speaking family, there's German. It's just going to be in the brain. It's like what the brain is programmed with. And he says that E's and S's are 80% of the population. But for an E or an S, it looks like it's more for one reason. The right-hand side of the quadrant, B and the I, though it's 20% over there, 5% of the planet is B, 15% is I. I found that fascinating. It's 3 times as more I's than B's. Hello. It's a clue. B quadrant is very rare and you can't find them. They're hanging out together, talking ideas and creating. They don't like hanging out with their cousin who's an E or S. So this is what he said. E's and S's, though they represent 80% of the population, an E or S, for them it looks like it's 95% of the population is E or S. Because most E's and S's will spend their entire life never hearing the language of B or I being spoken. And if I don't hear a language being spoken, how fluent can I get in it? I won't. So E's and S's are in this perpetual language swirl of hanging out together. In fact, sometimes what I like to do, it's sort of hard to see it here, but I'll draw like, it's kind of an orange. I'll draw an oval, like a surfboard shape oval, kind of putting those two together. And an oval to kind of put B's and I's, they hang out together. And look at, there's a thick line. Make your middle line here, the vertical, really thick. What that says is the B quadrant, B's and I's hang out together, E's and S's hang out together, and the two sides don't mix. It's like oil and water. And one of the things that's important to get about that is B quadrant. Let's talk about franchising for a second, because I respect the model so much. Even though I'm a vegan and I don't eat at McDonald's, I respect the model. If someone buys 4 McDonald's or less, that's an S quadrant business owner. You check in. I own 2 franchises. It's like craziness. So the owner is still essential. The owner still gets the phone call in the middle of the night. Joey's sick. You got to come in and stand in line and cook the eggs tomorrow. You know, there's that. Now, once a business owner owns 5 or more franchises, 5 or more franchises, 5 McDonald's, 5 Taco Bells or more, they move into the B quadrant. And the business then has enough team. There's actually something I call the 4 T's. Let me give you those real quick. The B quadrant, it's about the 4 T's. They leverage 4 things. That's what's so exciting about the B quadrant. They leverage timing, trends, technology/systems, and teams. And you can't get there until you have 5 or more franchises, because it takes revenue and assets to put those people on payroll for the, once they have 5 or more franchises, they've got general manager and all these people running it, so the owner can step away. So the bottom line about the B quadrant is, if you look at every, other than network marketing, put that aside for a second, every B quadrant business model out there, from starting Federal Express, starting Apple, buying McDonald's and taking and owning McDonald's for Brazil, which was like multi-million. Somebody will buy the rights for the entire country. Those are B quadrant. It requires massive capital, because you have to build the infrastructure that lets you leverage the technology piece and the teams piece. And technology, by that I mean systems and protocol and all that stuff. And then of course you have to leverage the right timing and the right trend that's hot. That's what they're all about. So one of the challenges for people who are E's or S's is they don't have the capital. So they don't buy a B quadrant business. If they wanted to launch one of their own, they have to go get angel investors. So sometimes they're like, I don't know how to do it, but if they figure out how to get angel investors, they can do it. Network marketing is the only, and this is where I kind of delivered the punchline to my friend in my kitchen last week. I said, look, what's so amazing is the B quadrant, part of why it's only 5%, is most people on the left will never get the financial resources to get access to B quadrant and buy multiple franchises. There's one business model I've ever seen that's in the B quadrant that allows people to access a B quadrant dynamic of freedom, leverage, teams, technology, tapping into timings and trends, and that's network marketing. So here's the bottom line, you guys. Network marketing is a B quadrant business. That's who mostly signs up in network marketing. What quadrants tend to be attracted to network marketing? E and S. Why? Because they want freedom and it's accessible financially. But then here's the breakdown. If I'm speaking E quadrant language my whole life because I grew up around E's or S's, or if I'm speaking S quadrant language my whole life because I grew up around E's or S's and hang around E's or S's, how successful is someone going to be at a B quadrant business if they don't actually speak the language of B quadrant? That's, to me, are 2 main reasons people fail in network marketing, and that's one of the main reasons. It's like basically I jump into a B quadrant business and I bring my E quadrant thinking with me. It's not going to work. Or I get into the B quadrant business and I'm a business owner. I'm so good at this. And I'm an S quadrant. And now I jump into a B quadrant business using my S quadrant thinking. It's actually a disaster. It's what happens actually. It's linear. See, the left side's linear. The right-hand side of the quadrant is leverage. If I bring my linear E quadrant or my linear S quadrant thinking, trading time for money, which is what I mean by linear, it means I jump into a B quadrant business and I turn it into sales rep. And that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother segment I can do on, is what happens when E's or S's get into network marketing is they actually turn into what is known as, they do the product peddler model, because it's linear. It's like, oh, I'm over here and I'm going to bring it to the person who needs it. It's very different to say, wait, I'm Ray Kroc opening McDonald's around the world. I'm looking for partners. It's just like, it's a different way of thinking. So the key to success in network marketing is to study B Quadrant, is to be around the people. That's why if there's an LVA, go. Because I want to be around. I have to drive 6 hours to get to the closest LifeVantage Academy. Not the closest. There's another one in Bethesda. It's maybe 5 hours for me. So I go to the one that's 6 hours because Sarah and Chris Smith are there, and my dad's in New Hampshire, so I make it all work. I have a team in Boston, and I go so that I can be around. Mark Harris was at the last one. He's a Pro 8, and it's just like listening and letting his be quiet for 4 hours. I mean, he had a little segment where he was not on the stage, some other people, but there's almost 3 full hours letting his languaging land on me. What did we just do at Elite Academy? I'm letting B Quadrant leaders, like their language, realign my neural net, because that's what language does. It's if you're French, you start forming new neural nets. So I really want to make sure how am I on time? Why don't you guys come off?
You're fine. You're absolutely fine.
You're great.
When people bring value like what you're bringing, I'm not going to limit you. You give us your love. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is so much fun. So I just want to make sure you guys, if everyone's listening, as you see that the key distinction of sort of it's like this a conundrum of starting a network marketing business and going, oh my gosh, I've been trained in the language of E. That's why I want to spend time reading GoPro by Eric Worre, listening to Jim Rohn. He's got that audio about building your network marketing business. I mean, the more I can, and I do it too, because after I left network marketing, it was like 9 years ago, and I was done. Guess who I was hanging out with for the next 9 years? S's. All my clients are entrepreneurs and small business owners, so I didn't even notice that the B Quadrant kind of left. I got really good at French in junior high and high school. I could go to France even to this day, thank goodness, within 3 days, it comes back. But if I run into a French couple in the subway in New York City, and they start, I'm like, no, I cannot have a conversation with them because it's like my brain doesn't remember. So that's what happened to me. It's like out of sight, out of mind. French speaking went away for how many years it's gone. It's not there. Do you know that for 9 years, I was not really engaging with any of my B Quadrant friends? Because even my network marketing clients, I mean, I could coach them in it, but it wasn't like they were immersed in it. I was moving them to that higher ranks, and I did that. And then there was that chance to be around more of them. So I'll tell you, I had way more exposure to my S Quadrant clients, and it just pulled my brain to say English speaking, and I kind of like lost my French. So I want you to know that since I've been back in LifeVantage for 10 months, it's crazy, 10 months, it has completely changed my brain. I can feel my brain getting, it is affecting the way I run all my businesses, this willingness to immerse myself in B Quadrant. And that's the key, is that we want to seek out resources. If you're on, if you live somewhere where there maybe not be a lot of people, that's why you want to be on these weekly calls. That's why the LVA, wherever it might be, you travel far and wide. Have the weekly huddle call with somebody one-on-one. Do accountability and power hours with people that are playing big and using systems and creating duplication. Because CB Quadrant is about duplication, so you can be free. So I think I hit on the main points. I do want to say one fun thing. The S Quadrant stands for one more thing. Because I always say this is like the last. It also means specialist. Because heck, if you're going to be a tax attorney, you better be a really special kind where you're like, I'm different because I focus on international taxes. Or when Dr. Nettles, you were a chiropractor, you had that niche, that specialty. So that's why you could stand out. Because to make money on the left-hand side of the quadrant is all about standing out and being special. And I mean that even in the E Quadrant, to get promoted, you got to do something special. It's kind of like all about me. And here I am, a business consultant in my niche, and I don't even think anyone does what I do. And people who take my programs are like, oh my God, no one does this. Bringing in transformational thinking, quantum physics, brain science into networking, because I deal with nonlinear thinking as it deals with networking. Totally changes my clients' lives, but nobody does it. So when I had the flu, I got on a train and went to Philadelphia to lead an event. because I was super sick and nobody else could do it. Welcome to the S Quadrant, right? Because I'm so special. Now, the challenge then is if I do network marketing from this place, I'm kind of used to being special and having special innovations and ideas and creativity. And oh my goodness, I've got a couple brilliant S's, actually a lot of brilliant S's on my team, because they are the ones I want to free. And they're so adorable. Constantly like, I got a new idea. And it's like if you bought 10 McDonald's, would you tell Ray Kroc, if you bought it when he was still alive, hey, I have a better idea of how I'm going to run the 10 McDonald's in Dallas. We're going to put my grandmother's blueberry muffins on the menu. They would say, well, no, this is not the system. You came to us for a proven model, follow it. So this is why S's are hilarious. Oh my goodness. I'm hilarious because I get my own, I have to catch myself constantly and sort of like renegade, doing my thing, and I'm remembering E Quadrant. What are the systems? Embrace them. And so if I have someone on my team who gets really super inventive, I say, great, here's the deal. When you become Pro 7, you can try anything you want. Follow our system until you hit Pro 7 and then go crazy and all inventive. So this is why I really appreciate this opportunity. I'd love to do a little Q&A if you want to. Some thoughts. See if I missed any pieces. I'm looking at my notes. So now you can look at this is what this guy saw in literally on the back of an envelope, right? Isn't that fun? So much fun.
Curious.
Right? And if you can use different colors with people, I got the blue for the main sign, then I threw the, the security, independence, freedom, and impact are over here. The little ovals, make this thing thick. And what I wrote across, oh yeah, the top, linear income is over here. Non-linear leverage is here. So there you go. So it's a fun thing. And what I say to people when I share this is I own the quadrant that I'm in, and I'll actually say, I notice the main, this is so great. They have the same relation, even though E's and S's are so different looking, they have the same relationship to money, and that's trading time for money. Mm-hmm. And I say, when I saw this, I realized I thought starting my own business was going to set me free. Oh, wow. And I'm totally consumed by my business. My business owns me. And I get really authentic with people. And I notice when I get authentic, I've had a number of S Quadrant colleagues of mine say, nobody talks about this part, that we're all just like running and we all act like everything's great. I'm like, yeah, I have to act like everything's great because then nobody will hire me. So it's like, it's so great, and so I'll go a month or two sometimes without closing any deals in my consulting business. The whole time I'm acting like it's all great. So I'm really committed that I give people a chance to get real and authentic and be raw. And I've had this happen where they see this and then there's this, and if they don't, and if they're still like, oh yeah, I'm still branding my coaching and I'm doing, and they start talking about all this like stuff they're spending on like websites and bags and swag with, I'm like, whoa, this guy is he's either going to spend $100,000 to make himself like the Tony Robbins, or he's going to come crashing down after 2 years of trying this and realizing he's burned out. But I won't bring up network marketing. I brought it up and, hey, just be my feedback person. But he could not see it because he was a happy S. Isn't that fascinating? So you just kind of like let people be. And so if I know they're a happy S, I might ask them to look at what I'm doing with LifeVantage, but I'll couch it now as, I really trust you. I know you're slammed and you love what you're doing. I'm having you as your insights, opening some new markets. I'd love to get your take so I can position it so they don't feel like I'm after them, because I can already tell, I don't think this is for them. I'll say, I don't think this is for you because you're so focused and you love what you're doing. But it would mean a lot to me to get your perspective, your take on things. I don't use the word feedback because then they go criticizing you. I'll give you some critiques, but take perspective. I'd love to brainstorm with you. And I'll even say, here's why, because one idea, you may be the person that gives me the one idea that's the game changer for my business. And I think, oh, thank you. So that's what I've been doing. You're
amazing. Seriously. So we did have Dawn ask, and I believe this is Dawn from Ireland.
Yay!
Yeah, right? It's in the house. So he said, have you thought about writing a book and workbook for the direct marketing community? He thinks that you have more than enough wisdom. You can call it, it's all raw in the networking or in the marketing world. Oh, nope. This is the Dawn from California.
Oh, Dawn daughter.
Yeah, Dawn daughter. Awesome. Hi, Dawn.
Yes, I have a bunch of books in me. It's really kind of funny when I came into the red carpet program and I was sitting down with Taylor. I've known Taylor Worry since he was 10. And I've known Eric Worry for 20 something years. So when I was sitting in the red carpet, actually before I went in for my red carpet, Taylor's like, Cyn, and Sarah Smith, connected me. It was pretty amazing. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do network marketing. And what was so beautiful is I said, here's why, because I was kind of in this little intoxication happy S mode. And that was building my online learning platform to specifically impact network marketing industry. And what happened was Taylor said something, I couldn't hear it the first time he said it. He said, Cyn, let me tell you something. If you build a business that's huge here, it gives you a whole different platform for the impact you want to make. Because all I really want to do is change the world with network. I want to change network marketing globally. If I allow network marketers to access the E Quadrant, I teach a whole other thing around, first of all, confronting industrial age, the way we've been programmed from our school system. This is really my background. Industrial age programming got into our brains when the school systems were invented in Europe in the late 1700s to address the fact that we went from agrarian age farmers and shifted to the school system that had to prepare us to go work for one of these and like follow orders and kind of get in line. And, farmers were like, we were free spirits and innovative types, and kind of the sun was our clock. And it was a disaster when they put farmers to work in factories. They said, oh my God, it's too late for these people. They would talk back, they'd make suggestions. It was a complete disaster. Well, it's too late for these people. We have to get them when they're 5. So they created a school system to prepare a human being to merge with a machine the first time in human history. So that's the thing I really am after, is breaking people out of the programming we've been given. Hence the movie The Matrix is one of my favorites, is having people wake up from second wave industrial age thinking, which is what got programmed into me since I was a little kid, because those are the school systems I went to, into this what's called third wave, quantum wave. It has different names, but it's basically from linear to nonlinear. And nonlinear is our nature, because our brains are nonlinear, but our programming, our languaging is very second wave and linear. It's perfect for the E Quadrant and the S Quadrant. But to access the right-hand side requires nonlinear thinking. And that's my real passion. And network marketing is one of the most accessible non-linear thinking models. So it's my passion to change the industry. So yes, Taylor convinced me. He's like, Cyn, if you come play here, you can really do something. So I'm basically just getting myself to Pro 7. So I can, then I can get to work on books and being at the Network Marketing Pro on the stage and all the things that people are like, get your butt over here. I'm like, all right. So yeah, so thank you for encouraging me about my book.
That's awesome. So in speaking about your goal for Pro 7, right? I think that you've made some BHAGs, some big, hairy, audacious.
Big, hairy, audacious goals. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll be Pro 6 by Long Beach. Actually, it was Chris Malhoy who said to me, Cyn, Pro 7 by Long Beach. I was like, well, I think Pro 6. And then like 20 minutes later, I was like, God, that was really safe. Because one of the things I love teaching is what I call the Babe Ruth promise. Babe Ruth would approach the plate, he'd stop and point over the top of the park and announce to the entire stadium, this one is going out of the park. And very often he struck out. But and then my favorite part is after making what's called a Babe Ruth promise, he'd point, he's promising everybody this is going out of the park. He'd strike out and he wouldn't walk away from the plate with his head, tail between his legs. He would walk around going like, that's how you do it. Like he was proud that he struck out, because that's the access to home runs, is this bold promise, this bold, hairy, audacious goal. So yeah, I was realizing I didn't make a Babe Ruth promise. So my Babe Ruth promise is hitting it out of the park and qualifying Pro 7 by the end of September.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Walking the stage. And you know what? When I was declared Pro 5, I think I failed 3 months in a row promising. But it's like the courage to promise that boldly is what actually had things happen on my team that wouldn't have happened had I promised something smaller. So I really love the boldness, because it actually has, it amps up our attraction factor. Our music is more bright. It's so profound. So thank you for letting me put my butt on the line and say that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and I just absolutely love this whole idea. And I hope everybody else did this too. Because the thing is, guys, is you need to be able to come back and just review this and review it. Because I had so many breakthroughs the first time that we saw it sitting on your couch in New York City, about, oh my gosh, this is why so many people give up on themselves. It's because they don't even understand the language of the people that are going to be able to help them get into the quadrant they want to be in. Not to mention that they're talking to the people that know their same language. Right? And so if you're talking to people that don't understand the B quadrant, then they can't see it. And if you can't see it,
exactly.
Yeah, the person.
Or if they have seen network marketing before. So you have people that are really like professional types of people that are like, they love to be successful. They like to be an influencer. And I look at them and they go, oh my gosh, I would never touch network marketing. And I get to say to them, I go, hey, something tells me that the people you've interacted with are probably the 80% of the people in network marketing that have done the peddler model. And you may not have met someone in the 10 to 20% that are doing the professional side of network marketing. They're like, professional side. And then I can draw the quadrant, show them what I mean. The B quadrant is the professional side. It's someone who's thinking like Ray Kroc, thinking like Steve Jobs, building their board of advisors. You know, I'm opening countries, opening new states and cities. And most people have encountered somebody with a stabilized company and they're just blabbing about the product. And that's why they have such a weird reaction, because they don't want to be the pushy salesperson. And they look at that and go, that's so not me. If I'm going to push anything and sell something, let me sell something with a really big margin, like commercial real estate. So it's kind of cool. I like that. So I love that you brought that up, how to help people see the language when we're showing them the business.
Yes, I know it was very, very eye-opening for me. So just one more thing I want to ask you before I turn it over to Tondi, just really quick, is, okay, so you know the importance of elevating the people around you and why events are so important. What would you say to people about getting pre-registered and why they need to do it today? Obviously, it's the last day before the price goes up, but why is it important to pre-register?
Great. It's really great. So we're going to use a B quadrant principle. In B quadrant, you buy 10 McDonald's, you follow the system. In network marketing as a B quadrant business, every move I make, right before I make it, I asked myself the question, if I had a team of 1,000, would I want my 1,000 people doing this very thing? So maybe I have calls that I promised I'd make between 10 and 12 on Wednesday, and I'm about to just blow it off. So I asked myself the question, would I want 10,000 people looking at their schedule? And it says make LifeVantage calls. And they decided, I'm too tired, it's too hot, oh, I go do something else. In other words, before I do something or don't do something, I get to ask myself, if I could only attract people that are doing exactly what I'm doing, would I want a team of 1,000 people doing this? So that's one way. So in terms of like, check myself. The other question is, how do I want my team of 1,000 or 10,000, whatever the number is, how do I want my 1,000 people that I attract onto my team to relate to the invitation to register for a conference? And I promise you, this is one of the most important things in this business. Starting at Platinum Pack is probably the number one. Number two is committing to 200 PV every month and never slipping. If I say, well, this month I don't want any commissions, so I think I'll skip this month and just do 100. Well, when I have 1,000 people in my team, what if every single one of them that, every other month they're skipping their, so that's why start at Platinum Pack. Get to Platinum Pack as soon as possible, because then we move that, so it duplicates. Commit to 200 PV. And the other thing is the way I relate to events. Registering for an event, when it becomes available to register, particularly at one of the major events, there's 3, or at a LifeVantage Academy. By the end of that LifeVantage Academy, register for the next one. There's something that sends a very powerful, it's actually in quantum physics, it's called the principle of non-locality. You don't even have to talk about what you're doing. It resonates through the quantum field. So you can only attract people in this business who are me. They're not going to do more than you. So it's like, if I want people to register for the next event, you know how powerful when you have 1,000 people on your team and you realize the next day after the conference, you can do a little search and you see that 80% of your team that attended with you actually registered. You now know where you stand as a leader. So always do the thing that you want your team to do. If you're okay with them being last minute registrations, then it's okay for me to be a last minute registration. So this business asks us to be bigger, not for ourselves, but for the people that are counting on our leadership. And they're not even on my team yet. It could just be little old me. And when I first started, wow, what do I want my team to be doing? I have to do it for them. It's like they're counting on me to call myself forth, to be bigger than my habits and my tendencies and my usual way of doing it. So that up level, it's like up leveling my behaviors and up leveling my kind of integrity and excellence allows for my team to up level. It also means I'm going to attract those that play at that level. Because if I don't play at a higher level, I can't attract those who want to play that level, because then I can't hold the space of their development if I'm kind of taking corners and doing shortcuts. So if someone plays big and I'm kind of doing the shortcut thing, I can't have them on my team. They won't feel like I can take care of them or hold them, even if energetically, that's what it's saying. It's always the energetics. So you can tell quantum physics is all over the place everywhere.
Amazing. Yes, amazing.
Yeah, so much fun. Do we answer are there any more chats that we should just scan through? I know we went way over.
No, I looked, and I think what we're getting really is that, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I need to watch this over and over and over again. And I agree with every single one of you. And even if you haven't typed to this, plus you need to make sure that you're sharing it with your teams, because this is a whole different mindset level. And it is truth that you can only grow a business as big as the person that you are and the way that you think.
Yeah.
So this is a great starting point. And so I'm just thankful. Go. Sorry.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to point out, Cynthia, when we were in your living room in New York City watching you do this, it was very similar to what I've read the book prior to, and the Cashflow Quadrant was the reason why I even took a look at network marketing and got involved in it and ultimately sold my practice. But you brought a special element to it that Robert Kiyosaki didn't. And it was the S also being specialist, and the language of E's and S's and the language of B's and I's. And I didn't realize that I wanted to stand out. When I was a chiropractor, I wanted to be that specialist. In fact, I prided myself on being that specialist because it was something that was so unique, but I didn't realize that it also pigeonholed me into a place that I could never escape from. And languaging, I was hearing the language of the other side, but I had no way of bridging that gap. I was stuck in my self-created environment because of the illusion. And here was the big reality I had in your living room, is I thought I was pursuing freedom by being that specialist and being so unique in my approach. And I realized I wasn't creating anything other than slavery. I was giving myself the opposite of what I thought I was pursuing. And then I realized when you said it's the fallacy, they're pursuing freedom, what they're truly pursuing is independence. And that was exactly accurate. And it worked for me until it didn't. And the thing that happened was overnight fatherhood. And so thank you for really clarifying for me and being able to define what I knew I was feeling. I just never had seen it put that way, that it was the language that I was trying to speak. I was immersing myself with people. I just didn't have the ability to jump that gap until network marketing came. And then a year later, there we were. So thank you for that.
I just heard a new twist that on the left-hand side of the quadrant, what's rewarded is being special. So it's embedded. It's actually what's rewarded. And in the B quadrant, standing out and being special, if you look at everyone that got recognized over the weekend, what was the first thing they said? I'm here because of my team.
Right.
So like, almost such a special person. That's how I became Pro 8. No one said that. I'm like a regular person. What happened was I just planted seeds and opened the door and let enough people see this, that they got to fulfill their dreams, and I back them, and I have amazing leaders, and that's how I got here. Yep. It's an amazing business that we're in, and I love that the quadrants can create new appreciation. I have so many other fun topics. I'm so excited to do. I want to do more with you guys. I mean,
certainly. Yeah. I would love to brainstorm with you and see what you would like to share with the team, because all you can do is bring amazing thought processes.
Thank you.
So we are so very thankful.
So blessed and grateful for your time tonight.
And wanted to congratulate you for being the newest Pro 5 on Team Freedom Reigns, as well as having qualified for the Pro 5 Summit, which I can only imagine what you're going to come back with, as well as what you're going to share and bring back to at this summit yourself. So we're super excited for what's going to happen for you and for your team. And we know that you guys utilize the tool that we use on Tuesday nights, the live opportunity overview. And so we want to just make sure that everybody remembers tomorrow night, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be coming to you live on the Dondi and Marcy Nettles Entrepreneurs page, as long as Facebook cooperates. But we're always on the Zoom link. So that will be on the team pages on Facebook as well as in your email tonight. So be looking for that. Invite, invite, invite.
Yes. Think cool until your air conditioner gets turned back on.
The repairs are coming next day or two. So I just got windows open and fans blowing and I'm pretending I'm in the tropics. It's getting ready for Cancun. There you go.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We are so blessed by you. Thank you for blessing me.
Thrilled. See you soon. Okay, good.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.